I grew up in Apple Valley, Minnesota, so I've always kind of been in Minnesota, kind of right here around the cities. Played all kinds of sports. Growing up, played really every sport, but was always really in love with basketball from an early age. I was the kid that would carry my basketball with me to baseball and football practice to try and go to the gym before or after. Would have the ball with me, at school, dribbling in the hallways, and it's just kind of always a part of who I was. Just really loved the game, and I really learned that from my family, from my mom, my dad, had cousins, aunts and uncles. Everybody really played, and I just really loved everything about the game, and so I really poured myself into it. Enjoyed everything about it, from the process of trying to improve to the parts that aren't so fun. I even learned to appreciate, and really started to take that on more and more as I got older, going into high school, and then was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to continue playing in college. Took me to South Carolina, was there for 3 years, and it was in college that relationship with the game started to break down a little bit. I think the first time I realized that basketball might not always be there, or this thing that was such a big deal in my life might not always be there, was when I had my original injury. I dislocated my ankle. It was 5 days before I was supposed to report for my freshman year of college, and I had been running all summer and changed my diet. My body was different. I was feeling great, was ready to go off to college to experience this thing I'd been working for since I was, I think, 10 years old. And I'm playing in one last open gym before I'm going home to pack my bags and go up to block a shot, and I came down and landed on somebody's foot. And I just remember feeling like I stepped in a bonfire. It was a pain at a level I'd never experienced before. It was after the surgery, when I'm laying at home in the middle of January in a boot, can't move, can't walk, and I'd never experienced this before. That's when I started having the first thoughts of, man, I might not be able to just play basketball for my whole life. And then my second experience was when my last college game was over. Kind of remember walking off of the floor and feeling like I was crossing a threshold, that I knew at that time, I knew I'd never come back. I knew my playing days were over. And then over the next couple months, realizing how much pain I was enduring just so that I could keep up this dream, keep this dream alive. It was kind of in that phase where I realized that that dream I had always had was no longer there. It wasn't until about 4 years later, when I was starting to find my own way as an adult post-college, that I had an encounter at a church in Mankato. The girl I was dating, who is now my wife, had recently got saved, and that's the first time I'd ever heard that term. I didn't even know what that meant. I just thought, she's now gonna try and go to church more, or try and be religious and try and be a better person. But I went with her to an event and had someone pray for me, and heard things articulated that I've never been able to put into words before by someone who I had never met before. And they were extremely personal, and just everything about the experience just really shook me, really rocked me, to the point where I was wondering, what was that? And that started a journey of learning more and realizing about who Jesus actually was. And the biggest turning point for me in that process was realizing that it's an actual relationship with a person who is still alive, not just a person who used to exist or that they tell stories about, but that it's so powerful and so many people are believers because of the actual relationship that they have with this man who's still alive. I mean, overall, I think it's fundamentally changed who I am. I mean, I used to be someone that really only lived for what I was into. It was just all about me and my process and what I was going through. I was really lucky to have a family that supported all of that. So without that, I wouldn't have been able to be as successful as I was. But it's just made me a much more selfless person, much better friend. I'm a better husband I think I could have ever been. Still working on being a better father, but just in all the roles that I play in my life, in all of them, I'm trying to now strive towards an ideal that's represented in Jesus that I didn't have as a destination before. I think a big thing in my process that coincides with my process of getting married is discovering what my real purpose is. I feel like that my purpose is to positively influence young people, and my main avenue through that is basketball. And again, like I mentioned before, I had a much more selfish purpose, but now just pouring into as many young people as I can is just something that I feel like has been revealed to me is my purpose, and has been confirmed by all the opportunities that come in that avenue. All the different things that I do fit together perfectly, just almost like a puzzle. But I work during the school year, during the day, for a school district. I'm a cultural family advocate. I build a bridge between minority families and the school system. So a lot of that is building relationships and getting to know the school system a little bit better, just so that those I have a relationship with can better generate a positive experience for the kids going through the educational system. So I work with lots of kids and families during the school day, and then afterwards I coach basketball at Apple Valley High School, do a lot of the strength and conditioning, the developmental stuff in the off season, and then when the season starts, work with the kids in practice, head JV coach and varsity assistant. Had a really good run, had some successful teams. The program's in a much better place now than it was when I was there. And then I also help run a youth organization that has some teams and does training and camps and lots of developmental stuff for the game of basketball. So from ages 7 and 8 all the way up to some professional players, I just really get to work with a lot of people to show them the stuff that I learned as a player. The type of player I was, I had to work really, really hard in order to be successful at all. So along that way, I've learned a lot of things, picked up a lot of stuff, and I'm able to take those lessons and now pour back into people who are still involved in the game. So it's a blessing to see that impact in other people. Game of basketball means so much to me. I just enjoy everything about it, and to have the opportunity past the time that I can play to still be connected to the game in a way that's really fulfilling means a ton to me. I mean, outside of my family, there's nothing else I'd rather spend my time doing. But to be able to see people develop and grow in this game that I really enjoy and love means a ton. I've worked with some kids that have gotten some scholarships that they may not have otherwise if they didn't put the work in that they did. Or even just seeing people really enjoy the game at a level that they wouldn't if they don't learn some of the habits or the skill sets that come with developing the right way. Just kind of seeing all of those aspects of developing and improving means a ton, and it's kind of my way of staying connected to it. I think every kid needs something that they're attached to that pulls them in a direction to help them do something that's good for them, something that they need that they wouldn't otherwise do. And basketball was that for me. Basketball was the thing that would make me go to class, make me finish my projects, make me be more respectful, polite, on time, responsible, all of the stuff that you need as a youth developing. And it's not basketball for everyone, but for anyone that it is, I love to try and fill in and help them in that path. I have no idea what God has for me moving forward. Based off of what's happened already, I know that there's a possibility that could be bigger and better than I could ever imagine. I don't know. I've been praying to try and get more clarity in that. I feel like one large phase or season of my life is starting to come to a close, and another one is opening. Just feel like the further I try and look ahead, the foggier it is. I just kind of know what's right in front of me. But I do have a feeling that it's going to involve working with young people, and working with people, whether it's within the game of basketball or not. I feel like it is, but again, I do feel like my purpose is positively influencing young people. Specific, defined purpose that I feel like I've wrote, and any opportunities that come in that avenue, I'm open for.